Dirty Girty, the poor polluted birdie, says clean air is for the birds, and people too. Join GASP, P.O. Box 2850.
Community members should not be expected to hold their breath waiting for the next fire or malfunction to take place that knocks critical pollution control equipment offline. U.S. Steel must upgrade the Mon Valley facility to a state-of-the-art operation that doesn't put the health of Mon Valley residents and all of us at risk continually.
During the last inversion, when you ordered companies to shut back, when industry is told to cut back because we were in a first stage alert, Hazelwood, one of the 10 most polluted areas in the whole world, had companies in violation during the inversion. We must get a portable monitor out there. Those people had an index that was close to the Denora episode. We've got to stand firm on this. We must have a portable monitor.
Now, you're talking about the next time on the summer.
There's 17 violations against them.
All right, I'm not an attorney. I think we have to review that. I agree with you. If
and I don't want a timid director.
The next.
Well, I think.
I don't mean you.
I think the important.
Who do you mean?
I don't
want someone to say, "Gee, I want to be overly cautious." I always kid Ron. I tell him we've got trained early.
It's not a question of being. It's not a question of being cautious.
You have to be legal.
No.
I'll buy that.
From the government agent's point of view, it's very important that the citizen say what he feels and create an environment or a background in which the public official knows he has some kind of public support. But when a citizens group comes along and tells you that they approve of what you're doing, or even tells you you ought to be doing more, then it kind of stiffens your spine. It reinforces you so that you can go out and do the job you need to do.
GASP is one that will stick to the facts and understand what is needed to make a difference. I came here in 2001. I had vaguely heard of them before. I was so impressed with them that every year in teaching environmental health, I made a point of telling students about GASP and made a point of saying that this is the way that you have to approach these environmental problems with integrity and with being able to keep a reputation, not just a fly-by-night type of approach. My background is that of being involved in the environment since before the first Earth Day. And so I've seen a lot of programs come and go. I was assistant administrator for research and development at EPA, so I understand the importance of science in policy, and GASP to me, again, is wonderful in their keeping to the science.
I think we changed the consciousness of this community, because when I first came here, you're peekabooing at the camera, aren't you? People would tell me, oh, well, that's smoke or that's haze, but it's all right because it's from the mills, and that's the jobs, and we need the jobs. Most people didn't understand that the cloud from a steel mill, the industrial plume, can contain absolutely deadly elements like cyanide, and in large quantities. We got that before the public, and we did it in a very, very attention-getting way by releasing a secret document which had been sent to us by someone inside one of these big companies.
I'm Lisa Graves Marcucci, and I work with the Environmental Integrity Project. We have partnered with GASP on a number of really great projects, and I'm proud to call them a partner group in our overall collaborative effort to help communities, particularly in the Mon Valley, that are affected by dangerous air pollution. And I have to say, I've been a fan of GASP, and I've been aware of GASP since I was literally in the 5th grade. And I think it was the year that GASP was founded, and my science teacher had a real heart for air pollution and protecting communities, and she introduced us to GASP. So I had an early start. I was a fan then, and I continue to be a fan today. So congratulations and happy anniversary to GASP.
Do you like a button from GASP for clean air? Thank you. Would you like to wear a button for GASP?
I was thinking one night that we had to get our message to the public, and I was sitting in the bathtub. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and suddenly it came to me.
From Dirty Girty to you. Bird in good health.
I could picture this bird flying through the polluted air of Pittsburgh. I leaped up and I said, Dirty Girty.
Would you like a button? Dirty Girty. Help us fight for clean air.
This is Patty DeMarco. I am a lifelong resident of Pittsburgh with several periods of time spent away. I grew up here in the days when it was the smoky Pittsburgh city. I remember having our laundry hung under the porch so you didn't get cinders in the clothes as they were drying, and people wearing broadband hats so you wouldn't get ashes on your face. And the Clean Air Act was passed in 1964 when I was in college. And by 1968, when I was a graduate, and now a graduate student through 69 through 71, air quality enforcement was a huge issue. And GASP was formed during that time. I'm not sure it was officially called GASP yet when I was on campus, but the Earth Day of 1970, there were teach-ins all across the city, all around the area, trying to make people aware of the importance of protecting our environment. And GASP came to being out of that effort. And I really think it's amazing that in 50 years they have persisted and elevated the level of professionalism and dedication to cleaning up Pittsburgh's air. It's a battle that's been going on since 1946, when the barons of industry who were causing the air pollution were aware that it was causing difficulties for the city because the smoke was difficult for, attractiveness and made everything dirty, and they were trying to make it less of an issue, but without success. GASP, I think, has focused on the issue sharply and has made tremendous effect from being in the legal system, in the outreach and education system, and just as a constant presence for pressure on cleaning up the air, which is one of the critical essential needs for human life. So happy birthday, GASP.
We know the technology will work. We know it because we did a task force report on it ourselves, Pat has here, which was the basis for the counter-proposal to U.S. Steel. We have since had more information from our people who work in very sensitive areas, who work for the company, who confidentially have told us that it is working. It is now debugged and online. It exists. It exists today.
As the result of pressure by GASP on state and local agencies and subsequent legal action by these agencies, the U.S. Steel Corporation has moved to install new pollution controls at its giant Clairton coke works. GASP is now watchdogging 3 separate court decrees under which U.S. Steel has consented to a cleanup timetable.
We could only gain and not lose.
Group Against Smog and Pollution, GASP, is a remarkable organization that is extraordinarily adept at organizing the public to understand the issues that affect their health and to give them a sense of agency, a sense of how to take pride and ensure that our regulators and our polluters are paying attention, connecting the dots, and improving our environment so that our communities are great places to live, work, and play. Happy anniversary, GASP, and thank you so much for what you do for our children, our elderly, and everybody in between.
What you have to do to change any place is to get a hold of the facts. If you want to get a handle on a government agency, you get a hold of who runs it, who he's responsible to, what makes him tick, and what law is he supposed to be enforcing. The first thing to do, of course, is get a copy of that law. That's not easy to do. We found out why it's not easy to do, because the guys in the bureaucracy don't want you to know what law they're supposed to be enforcing. So, this is what we learned in GASP, and this is what I do now. This is my approach, to get the facts, to be sure that the facts are always in the forefront, and not to be afraid to tell a guy who's supposed to be enforcing a law, you're BSing me, and let's just get past that because I know your law better than you do.
For a long time, the majority, not all, but the majority of our local, state, and public officials have been mute on air quality issues and certainly have shied away from ever holding sources that pollute our air accountable. We need to do that. We need to start holding all sources accountable, including U.S. Steel, when we know that they are breaking the law, when we know that they are polluting the air that we all breathe.
Hi, my name is Fransisco. I work for the Sierra Club and have been working closely with GASP since I started working here in Pittsburgh about 15 years ago. GASP was instrumental in helping me in many of the communities I work in because they have been there a lot longer than I have. Happy birthday on your 50 years. You've been doing a lot of great work. I personally credit you with the Clean Air Act in the United States of America because I think a lot of that work started right here in Allegheny County many years before I started this work. So we have a lot farther to go. So I look forward to working with you for far into the future. But the work you've done over the last 50 years is just amazing, and thank you.